Hey, Lucas here. This is the second of our pen nib videos. This is the shaping the nibs. It's pretty simple, and it all depends on the size of the nib you want for how you shape it. You can do wigwags, spirals, various different things. You can keep it straight. I'm going to keep it really simple in this one, and we're going to do everything just straight and pulled to a point. Anyway, let's get started. Here's what it's going to look like before we stretch it out, snap off the nib, after we've attached it to a pen. And these are the things you're going to need to do it. Half the cane that we already made beforehand, a couple of punties, your choice and size. I'm using 4mm rods, 2 of them preferably, 3 possibly if you need more. And of course the trusty Zippo, and seriously, use the Zippo over a butane lighter. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to attach one of the punties to the tip of the cane, and then we're going to get everything nice and warm. You can cheat and throw it in your kiln beforehand, but then you got to worry about kiln dust. It's up to you. I'm not doing it that way. I just find it a little bit easier not to worry about it. So attach your punty, make sure you get a good hot seal on there, and as always, try to keep everything as centered as you possibly can. You'll notice that I'm moving quickly with my feet back to the front as I was recentering everything. This makes it so that we don't have to worry about cracking. So after this slight bit of preheating with my single flame, I kick on my outer flames, and we're going to slowly heat everything up to make sure that the heat completely penetrates the cane. And as that happens, you'll notice that I move my hands at different angles. I don't like to keep them perfectly straight in front of me. That causes you to have to fight gravity a lot more than you really need to. So as you can see, it's glowing nicely. You can really see the heat base. And as I'm doing this, I'm keeping the flame a little bit away from the punty in my right hand. And that's just because it's so much smaller and it'll stretch easier. I can always re-stretch it a little bit more by adding just a little extra heat, which you'll see later on. Right there, I feel like I've got a good enough temperature, and you notice as I'm pulling, it's just little pulls as I go along, and throw it back into the flame to reheat where it's a little bit higher, not higher, thicker. That's the word I'm looking for. Now I'm going to heat the end closer to my left hand and stretch it a little bit more and try and get it melted better. So you'll see the part that's closest to the 10mm putty. I'm not going to completely keep all of that since it won't have the same depth of the channels as it does in the rest of the piece. So we're going to have to actually pull some of that off. You can use tweezers or pull it off with a cane like I'm doing here. It's up to you for what you want to do on that. And you can even use diamond shears, but that would really destroy the actual shape of the cane you're working with. Anyway, there's multiple different ways to do that. Okay, so here, after cleaning off all the excess, it's a bit thicker. So I'm just going to add a hot seal for the putty. And then we'll switch sides and pull the part of the cane we want from the other side. So right here, I'm going to pull off a section after I've stretched it out a little bit. And that is going to be the part that we're going to use for the nib. And this is the part where you get to be really creative. The trick is, for shaping, to get whatever shape you want. Some people like a straight barrel with a sharp taper to it. Some people like to spin it. Some people like to wigwag it. The trick is to make sure that your tops of your channels don't touch if you twist it around, and that you don't melt it too much so that the channels end up closing up on each other. So what I'm going to be doing here, since I like to have a bit of a taper from a fat to a thin end, is I'll heat it up, but not too hot again, so that nothing connects with itself. And once I feel I have the shape that I want, then I'm going to stretch it out fairly thin, which then after that part, we'll move on to the actual pulling the tip on the next scene. So I reshot a little bit of this here. I initially just did the nib before pulling it off and forgot that the shaping video didn't have the part where you pull the tip. So anyway, to show you that, I'm just going to attach the nib to a piece of 10mm rod. You are going to need some tweezers, which I also forgot to mention in the tools, but guessing you probably have a pair of tweezers just sitting right next to you. So do a nice hot seal. Again, this is where you get to be creative. You can add different colors, whatnot, between your nib and the pen. And here is the really tricky part, is getting this just hot enough that it'll stretch and stay centered and get very thin without having the channels come together. And you see how it's thin enough you can just break it like that? That's exactly what you want. So find a spot on it that you like. I like to go a little bit away from it, and just in case I make a mistake, and you snap it with your tweezers. Just like that. And now it is ready for you to sand it, shape it so that it can be used. Well, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out our other videos as well as our Instagram. I'm streaming on Twitch 3 times a week. Check out my channel for the times, as well as I got a Discord set up for any videos you want to see or just chat about anything, as well as our website, which has the newest stuff available. So go check out the merch there. Anyway, thank you all for watching.